Welcome to Your Wealthy Self with me, Regina Martinelli. This show is about money and a whole lot more. Here we actually focus on you being able to expand your capacity for money, success, abundance, and both inner and outer wealth. It's really about you having what's most important to you both inside and out so you can be your wealthy self. And today is one of those days where we get to talk about a whole lot more. Our topic is about transforming your life through intuition and the power of sound. This is the first in a two-part series, so make sure you watch next week's episode as well. So many of you may be new to the concept of sound healing. I know I am, yet you, like myself, might be more familiar with the concept of frequency or frequency healings and how everything comes back to frequencies and the energy that we vibrate at. The very base level, we're all just atoms vibrating close together to create our bodies and our world, right? And the frequency that these particles vibrate out has energy and it has intelligence and purpose. And you may be familiar with the notion of vibrating at a higher frequency, or maybe you've noticed when there are people around you who don't really vibrate at the same frequency as you, they feel more dense in their bodies, or they may have more lightness of being, right? We all vibrate differently. But if you've ever been around someone who significantly vibrates differently from you, especially if it's a lower frequency, then you feel it. For me, it makes me move slower, and I can feel the tension in their energy pulling for a slower rhythm that's slower than mine and wanting than I want to be. Then I want to bounce around more easily. And when I'm around, it's like, oh, I need to slow down a bit for this person. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not to say that one is better than the other. We're all just where we are. Yet when our frequencies get out of balance or have some disruptions, it can cause distortions, constrictions in our body, in our mindset, in our creativity. So being able to transform those constrictions and heal what's in the way so our bodies and our spirit bodies can do what they naturally want to do, which is thrive, can make all the difference. This is why I am so excited to talk with today's guest, Chris Young-Ginzburg, who is a sound healer and intuitive empowerment coach and has been tackling these types of healings for over 20 years. She is an expert at sound activation, clairvoyance, and creating sacred spaces where healing, creativity, and growth can happen. How fabulous is that? So let's welcome Chris to the show. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and I cannot wait to dive in today.
Totally. Thank you, Regina. Oh, it's just such an honor and a pleasure to be with you and to be with your community. I'm just overjoyed to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's start with a little context on how sound healing or voice activation can transform someone's life.
Oh my gosh, this is such a deep question. Well, here's the deal. So I've been teaching this class called Sound and Voice Activation for about 2 years. I actually just finished my last class of 2024 last night. We're in the realm of the heart. And I've been doing this class for, again, about 2 years, but have been doing sound healing in itself for about 10 years in total. And sound intrinsically is the heart of who we are. We're born into song. Our mothers sing to us. And in some cultures, they sing you into death. Isn't that phenomenal? That's a part of us that I think we've forgotten. I want to reawaken that. And so the call for me to teach people and to remind them of their sound, your own personal song, is one of my visions and drives that I have. And I believe that we all have our own personal signature sounds. Like when people show up, like, ooh, I feel a bouncy, boingy energy with this person. Like you were saying, like, you know, the energy levels, like, oh, this person has like a low, like a different sound. So I really like to play in this realm. And this is also the part of me that loves performing. I've been a performer for about 20 years as well, and doing character work and diving into so much training into this world. So I've really embodied the idea of playing in this realm of sound, because for me, truly, it has been my incredible transformation, because I was brought up in an environment where boundaries were not really a thing. I had to kind of find my way through that. Vocally, I was very shut down. And I believe that so many of us are shut down in this realm, because the more I teach in this realm of communication and self-expression, especially singing and just expression or being witnessed, speaking in front of people, is very, it's hard for people.
Mhm.
And of course, I mean, in schools, I talk to so many people, myself included, we're taught to be quiet. You're too loud. You're too this. You better not say what you're going to say. Culturally, in some religions, it's everywhere. And I believe now, especially being a sound healer and seeing it, Regina, moving through so many different environments, schools, hospitals, home environments. There's more people bringing in sound healing tools like a Tibetan bowl, like an actual sound bowl, crystal sound bowl. A lot of people love these, the koshi chimes.
Oh,
Yeah. So people love this stuff. It's slowly coming into people's homes. So it's something that's moving through the ethers of us now in 2024 and more so now. And I really believe that people are remembering that this is part of us. And what I love about sound healing in particular is that anybody can do it. You can just lay down and receive, or close your eyes and receive and just listen and pay attention to how the sound moves through you. I believe that these instruments they have their own spirit. They have their own wisdom and their own intelligence, and they know how to harmonize with your body and your energy system to help move energy for you, sometimes in a very gentle way. And in some cases, like with a gong in particular, they can be very loud, like their sounds can be pretty, like almost like a piercing sound. But it can still move energy for you. I found that sound equipment tools are really powerful for just about any walk of life, right? Any age range, any person. But working with the voice in particular is, it's another level for people. And this instrument has been with you since day one.
yeah.
You don't need a sound tool other than this,
Mhm.
truly.
It doesn't
And
matter if you can sing or not sing, or on key or off key.
can anybody hum? Of course. Anybody can carry a tune. You don't have to be like you don't have to be an opera singer. You could just hum. And the idea of humming is such an incredible vibrational tool. You have so much within this actual portion of your body that can help you access and clean and clear and to empower yourself. That these two together, sound and voice together, is just an incredible tool for transformation.
Mm. Oh, that's incredible. So I would love to know kind of the difference, because you talk about voice activation
Mm-hmm.
and sound
Mm-hmm.
healing. And,
Mm-hmm.
for those of us who are new to it but are
Yeah.
intrigued by it, what
Mm-hmm.
would you say?
Yeah. So sound healing, in my definition, okay, is, again, I've been doing sound healing journeys where people come in, like a lot of yoga studios do it now, where you come in, you go and you do your yoga, and the end they call it a savasana, where it's where you lay down and you integrate from all of the movement and the poses and what you worked on during your session. And some people will bring in sound tools, either the yoga teacher, if they invite in a sound healer, they'll come in with a full array of equipment and you'll just lay and receive. So it's very passive. You lay there and you're receptive. You can call it more of the feminine, where you're the receptive feeling. And you just listen to what the tools do for you. And like I was saying earlier, they have their own intelligence to move something in your body. And some people might report pain coming up. They may get memories. They may get thoughts. They may feel vibration literally moving through their body. So the sound healing part, I really believe, in that realm, is more like being receptive and just being in a space where you can lay down and relax and receive and rest and let the sound tools do the work. Voice activation, for me, again, this is all my personal definition, is more active. And
Mm.
so what I mean by that is that you're actually using actively your voice to do the healing for you. So
Mm.
for instance, in some of these classes that I teach, we practice first and foremost moving the body, getting the body activated. So you're not laying there with the sound tool like, I'm just receiving. No, you're actually moving. And then what we're doing in this class is we're making tones and sounds, and sometimes words are going to come through. And the fun part about me and my classes that I like to do is I bring in the actor part. Well, we'll become animals and we'll make animal sounds. And now the reason that we do this is to bring in fun and play, because this can be a very sensitive spot for people where people normally shut down. And if you invite in a little bit of that playfulness, people break through a lot quicker and a lot faster. And in my classes, I put the preface of weird is welcome, and weird is where the creativity happens.
Yes.
Because that's when it's because sound is an interesting realm. When you start to work with this area, and again, in the active portion of using voice,
Mhm.
it's like, you may get a little like, I don't know. Like you can feel literally the toning and how I just can't get it out. Or, if you do a sound, it might be like, like, you'll get the choking. And And so the idea of weird is to allow these weird sounds to come, because you're going to hit layers of stuff that could be in the way for you to access more of the power that's here in the center. And there's a lot of power for people. And one thing I wanted to mention is that if you have, like, you feel like you're really stuck there, like you have a lot of, like, people call blocks or non-movement, I really believe that on the other side of that is just the same amount of power, if not even more. So if you're feeling that call to work with the voice, guess what? There's a lot of power for you in there, a lot of activation. So the difference again between sound and then the voice activation is more reclaiming, resetting, and owning and activating your voice, your boundaries, your song, your ability to heal yourself and others through this sound healing tool, your voice. And then sound healing with the instruments is you laying back and being more receptive to that. I know that was a long-winded version of me explaining what you asked, but that's it.
No, it's great. And thank you. And one of the things I'm curious about, because it brings up so much interesting thoughts for me, is like sound healing. You're right. It's receiving. It feels safe because you're inviting in, versus the activation of the voice. You actually are speaking out and you're calling attention to you, which for some people feel, can feel like, oh, I'm not going to be safe because I'm going to call attention, which means I'm going to be a target from their own childhood stuff or what's going on in their life. So how do you deal with that with people?
Yeah. So first, this is why I bring in the element of weird and play.
Yeah.
Because it activates the inner child. I mean, think of us as children, as a child. We're making all kinds of sounds and playing with our voice. And we don't care what we sound like. We're going to sing no matter what we care about, right? So I like to bring in that inner child. And most people that are drawn to my work, they know that there's transformation there. They're drawn to me because they know they're going to get pushed past their edge. That's why they are intuitively like, I need to go hang out with Chris because she's going to push me past my edge. And this is what a lot of the people that come to these classes, they say, you push me into my discomfort, but they're feeling that call to it. So it's just trusting it. And again, I invite gentleness, and again, prefacing it with the idea of play, of welcoming that whatever happens in the space is all good. That's why I invite and invoke characters. Everyone knows what a lion sounds like, or a snake. These are all sounds that we know how to make, that we've been making since childhood. And so bringing these in, it softens people's perfectionism. It softens their like, oh God, is something bad going to happen to me? Because I'm also like generally a warm person and inviting. That's just what I've been told by many, many people. And I'm really blessed that I've been given that reflection, because this is what I like to bring into the classes. And I've gone through so much in my life where I've been shut down. I've been the oddball. I've been the weird one. I've been bullied. Like, I have that sense of care and understanding that when people hit that, they're held in a gentle container with me because I've been there. And I know that, when we explore this realm together, because of my own work that I've done with it, it takes baby steps.
Yeah.
So I gently nudge people. I don't push them. I nudge them into their discomfort.
Yeah, that's great. As we know, as they get more comfortable in the discomfort, more can be reached for.
Absolutely.
So what would you say in general, for people that you've worked with, keeps us from experiencing the healing that we need?
Well, I think fear.
Yeah.
First and foremost. I mean, fear is a big one. It's also fear of change. I think we're all such creatures of habit. And I think, honestly, Regina, like in 2024, especially here in America, I don't know how far out you reach with your community, and I'm sure it's incredibly wide. Yay, beautiful. But in America, I only can speak to this because I'm American, is in the American culture, we're so freaking busy. We're so freaking busy. We got this to do and that to do and Google Calendar. And then I need my reminder for this. And I got a social media that. And I got to do, it's like so much doing.
Yeah.
I think the being of the human is missing.
Right.
And when we're more being, we're more in touch with our soul, our spirit guides, if you have a belief in that type of thing, our angels, our allies, our ancestors, even our spirit team that wants to help us. And it's always kind of like, hey, you want to work on that?
Right.
Really, it's not like a, hey, you, that's the ego. The nudge and the whisper is like the spirit going, hey, you might want to I want to look at that, because we're going to evolve here. So I think becoming more of the being and stepping out of the doing will really help us tap more into that. And that's more relating to like the clairvoyant work and that I've done over the years, and the teaching with people with their intuition, and reminding them that that voice is always there.
Yeah.
And it can be gentle, even though the filter of the judgment can make it sound like it's a yell.
Mm-hmm.
But we know, I think we intuitively know, we're all so incredibly intuitive. And I think that the more we slow ourselves down and put the phone down, put the to-do list down, like finding our balance with that, it helps slow us down enough to really tap in to what's needed with where our spirit is asking us to evolve.
That's so beautiful. And there's so much I see to the work that I do, that we become busy as a way to quiet the noise inside.
Totally.
Like our own fear of what we're going to hear, or, and sometimes it's that critic, and sometimes it's the truth of what our soul's really trying to reach for, and what our real purpose or passion is, and we're too afraid to pursue it or to
Totally.
So being busy,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to one sense, for some people, I've seen it help them get into adulthood to not have to deal with their trauma until they're old enough and stable enough to actually sit down and really weep in grief. And then there's another place of a distraction from what the soul really is calling for, what the heart is breaking open for.
Yes.
And us being like, oh, I'm too afraid of that.
I know. And then the body goes like this, and it's like, oh, holding all that stuff in. And I don't know if you've ever heard the metaphor, like it takes way more muscles to frown than it does to smile. Yeah.
Right. And then that constriction causes more pain and more distraction. Oh. So in your voice activation and the work that you do you see women go to that place and then crush that threshold? And what is that like?
Oh my God, I'm getting chills with this question. Yes, in this class last night, I'm going to create a small mini documentary on the transformations that this class has given. I had like 5 or 6 women come and do testimonials of them they were calling themselves frequent flyers. My class was so cute. And just because of the transformation that this class really holds. And I never knew that this is what was going to happen for people. This is so needed right now. And I was mentioning this to one of the students who's also a dear friend of mine who's been a frequent flyer. Well, she said, Chris, this is a place of so much freedom and power for people. And I'm like, you're right. And so many of us, we have these incredible harmonic instruments that have so much potential for sharing, for loving, for giving, for healing, for creating, for intending, for creation.
Yes.
And we all want that because we are that. And what's happened is that we've been shut down. We've been made small and contained and tight for other people's vision of what's expected. So when we're able to listen to that call, to break out of that expectation and to find the intrinsic truth that wants to come through, whether it's a sound or a song or a word or just oh my God, I'm connecting with this thing. It doesn't take much. So people are drawn to this work because there's something in them that is being called to be broken out, like to be freed. And this is what I'm seeing in this class, is that people are creating and cultivating this incredible freedom. And I never knew, Regina, that I was going to be creating singers. I never thought of myself as a singer. I've always been a dancer. My music has been in my body. But when I started doing sound healing and it got opened up during a plant medicine ceremony, an ayahuasca journey, was told, like, you're going to start singing and drumming and doing sound healing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And here I am almost 10 years later doing that exact thing. The medicine showed me, like, this is a powerful thing for everybody. And this is going to be one of the things that you do. And here I am now, almost 10 years later. Now I'm creating singers. And the students are saying, I never knew I could sing. And now I'm singing to myself. I'm singing to my family. I want to bring in a sound bowl. I'm like, I just started this class to teach people how to do sound healing. And here it is becoming this whole entity of true activation and empowerment. I'm like, oh my God. I say this quite often, like I'm teaching this class, but I'm like, there's something else moving through this space. And it's serving something on a grander scale. And I'm just so honored to be a part of the witnessing of what's happening in there. Because as a clairvoyant, over the 20 years I've been doing this work, I've truly learned how to trust when to let go and to trust that we are all channels. We're channels of information when the timing is right, the setting is right, especially if you're hosting a setting. And in that space, that sound and voice activation space, I'm surrendering. I have the plan and, I have notes written with what I'm going to do. But then a lot of the time I'm just listening and surrendering and I'm in it with them and we're doing stuff together and we're all harmonically one and we're doing this thing. And I'm like seeing someone's edge. I'm like, okay, let's push a little past that. Okay, if you're not ready, that's okay. Retreat a little bit. We'll go back in there, like stretch and work this muscle. And, it's a dance. Truly a dance. And it's just, it's mind boggling to see what's happening for people in there. And it just feels like this is what's needed right now in 2024, moving on into whenever this will move past this layer into the next thing. But this is what's alive for people right now is what I'm noticing.
Yeah, it's so amazing. You're right, because there's a place of, it's also getting the body in touch with the inner, right? And so that movement and that voice, it's a way to connect the two and have it work.
Totally.
And there's so much in our society that people have grabbed onto the phrase of speak your truth. A lot of context around that, right? So it's like, I'm going to do it as a diva. I'm going to do it as this way. I'm going to do it in this righteous way. I'm going to do it in this other way. Or I'm offended and that's my truth. And you have to now dance my offense. And it's like, no, what I hear from you, which I love, is like, it's like the sovereignty of this is me. I'm going to express this and the beauty that comes from that. But it's in a true, authentic container. And no matter what it looks like, it's still done with love and respect, right? Because of where it comes from. And it is yours without needing to have validation outside of you.
Yes. Because that's what people are mostly afraid of with voice is this okay? Did I say too much? Am I too loud? I mean, all the stories and the layers that people have to like push past and push because I did it too. And I still work through it. Like I'm on stage doing stuff and I'm like, oh my God, is this received? What's happening? Are they liking this? Like all the chatter that goes on in the mind. But then just trusting like whatever's coming through is exactly what's needed. Whatever it sounds like. I used to say in my sound healings, when we would have these big groups, okay, if there's an airplane that goes by, if there's a hawk that goes by, a crow, this sound, snoring, like I welcome it. It's all part of the healing. It's all there for a reason. And it's all serving someone. Even if it brings up a little of irritation, hey, guess what? That's what's alive for you right now and what it's showing to you. So yeah, it's just fascinating, this whole world and how it all kind of ties in together.
Doesn't it? And it's it's so interesting because I love it too, because when we want outside validation, that's when we want any of those respect, to be valued, to be seen, to be loved, all that stuff puts our power out there. We can't control it. And it gives it to somebody else to decide, not yet, not good enough, keep dancing. Versus when we say, wow, I know me because I have gotten my physical with my spiritual and I've done this, like you said, voice activation. And I know I am safe. I value myself. I love myself. So none of this matters out there. It's not what I need to feel valid. Within, then it's limitless. Versus out there, we're limited to what someone is willing to bestow on us. And that's not the human experience. And that's also not expression of creativity where it thrive. I love this, Chris.
Yeah. Can I say something onto what you're saying? Yeah. So this is tying into something that just popped into my reality this week. It's about resourcefulness. So we as a human body, or the human body itself is a complete resource all on its own. It's regenerating itself constantly. It doesn't need stuff out there. This is a true message for us. This is a resource. It's a resource for not only your own instrumentation of like you can sing and song and this is a vibrational healing tool. Humming is vibrational healing. When I was doing can
I stop you right there? Sorry, can we continue this in the next episode? I apologize, but we have like a minute.
Of course. Okay. You got it.
So everybody, you can tell we are ready to keep chatting. We have so much more to discuss. We barely scraped the surface, but we will continue with Chris for our next episode next week. Please tune in. Thank you, Chris, for all you're doing to help us heal and transform. To find Chris at grovecirclehealing.com. And make sure you tune in next week because we're going to chat more in depth. And if you got anything from today's show, please share this. There is already enough stress, overwhelm in the world. Your sharing this helps create more joy for everyone. Hence, you as well. Thank you.
Bye.